Hey everyone, welcome to this week's subscriber question. Just as a point of order, next week we're going to have two subscriber questions. I asked last week for questions because I was kind of running low, and you guys really delivered with a whole bunch of them, really good ones too. So I'm excited to discuss those next week. I'm also going to be traveling and just out with family and whatnot, so I'm not going to be able to release my usual Nick video that I like to release on Tuesdays, but there will still be a video which is going to cover pretty cool topics, so I hope that you're excited as well. With that said, there's not going to be a subscriber poll for this week, but there probably will be for later on next week. Okay, so this question comes from, and let me make sure I pronounce this correctly. Oh, my phone just froze. I'm not going to edit that out. Let's see. Wow, okay. Majed Al-Oskan. So, Majed wants to know, what is a good workout frequency at which a person will not burn out? So burnout meaning that kind of central nervous system, just get really tired, lethargic, get completely overwhelmed. And that is incredibly difficult to answer. One, there's no way for me to be able to tell you an exact frequency, but I can give you, I suppose, a few general guidelines that you can stick to. I think the idea is that you want to train to a point where you can still progress, but you're not overdoing it. A lot of people have this misconception that, okay, if I do a little bit and I see some progress, okay, that's good. Maybe if I do a little bit more, okay, that's fine. You see a little more progress. That if they just keep pushing it, pounding it in the gym where they can barely walk when they walk out, or when they crawl out, that's somehow superior. You're going to see better progress. Well, it kind of goes up, and then it just kind of curves, and then it starts going down. And that going down period, or even the plateau there, can be due to a variety of different factors, but one of them can certainly be a burnout of some sort. And this is actually something that happened to me when I was younger and just starting to get into lifting. I've been lifting for about 8 years now, so it's been a while. Maybe like 6 years ago, something like that, I had started, you guys might be familiar with it, the Smolov program, Smolov Junior, I believe, for squats. And I believe it's every single day you squat, which is kind of the old Russian or Bulgarian method, I believe, style of training, just really intense, massive amounts of intensity and whatnot. And that backfired on me completely. Not that Smolov isn't a great program, it certainly can work for a lot of people, but for me, I definitely got burnt out. Squatting every day, doing a compound exercise like that can really impact your ability to recover, and that's what we're talking about here. So in terms of variables, certainly the type of muscle that you're going to be lifting, if it's going to be legs and you're going to be doing that repeatedly, then yes, that's going to require probably pretty low frequency. Depending on the volume, if your frequency increases, typically you want your volume to decrease per session. The total amount of volume at the end of your week or your mesocycle or whatever should roughly be the same, or hopefully a little bit elevated over time. But within that particular session, if you're going to be lifting one time per week, sure, you can have your volume be pretty high, kind of like that typical bro split. But if you're going to be lifting, let's say 3 times a week, you're going to have to split that volume up. You can't do the same amount of volume you did for your one session a week for the exact same across all 3. So, you know, lifting, let's say for that one session you do 12 sets. Okay, well, for your other 2 sessions, let's say you switch to a 3 times a week frequency, you can't do 12 sets, 12 sets, 12 sets. You can for a short time, and then eventually your body's going to start having issues. You might get injured, or you might burn out in some capacity. So frequency, I can't give you an exact amount when it comes to that frequency. I'd say anywhere from like 1 to 3, and as long as you're just progressing, like that's the bottom line. Like regardless of anything that I ever say, if you are progressing, that is the best scenario. And even if you're not progressing optimally, and people get so caught up in this word optimal, oh, I need to make it as quickly as possible. If you're, the differences are percentage points. We're not talking about like, oh, a 50% boost or a 70% boost in your muscle gaining ability. So just start small, you know, and slowly add on as you see fit. Another variable to consider is nutrition. And I know you didn't really ask about this, but this does impact if you're going to get burnt out or not. If you are consuming far less calories, if you're preparing for a bodybuilding competition, or if you're just trying to lean down, you're going to be under consuming drastically and for long periods of time. So that being the case, your recovery ability is going to be certainly slowed down as well. So if that's the case, then you maybe want to cut your frequency to maybe twice a week instead of 3 times a week, or from 2 times a week to 1 time a week, and just make sure that volume is appropriate. So hopefully I gave you some ideas, was able to more of like paint a picture as opposed to giving you specific numbers. Maybe eventually I'll release a template for you guys just for free, so you guys have an idea of how exactly I think about these kinds of things. Keep in mind that I'm an exercise physiologist and going into medicine and things of that nature, so I'm not the chief authority on any of this stuff. I would certainly defer to people that are far more knowledgeable than I am, even if I have been training for a number of years, almost a decade. I still would probably defer to people like Greg Nuckols. I think is a fantastic source, a highly intelligent individual when it comes to strength and conditioning training, and Omar Isuf. I'm sure many of you guys know who Omar is because you guys came from his channel when I was featured on his channel a while back. All right, well, hopefully it still gives you some insight, and I hope that I have the pleasure of speaking with you next time, guys. I would list off the names, but I don't have them right now. I might have them next time. I'm not sure. We'll see. But either way, poll question next week, but be sure to tune in for more subscriber questions for next week as well. And post questions in the comments. All right, deuces.